Today we will be providing you with information about student injury. I am Deshaun Howard.
I am Jesus Zuniga.
And I am Perla Frias.
In the past few years, there has been a substantial increase in the number of lawsuits filed on the behalf of students with disabilities injured at school. These suits are usually filed against the schools and school personnel. Tort laws are laws that protect individuals harmed by unreasonable actions. Tort laws involve civil suits, which are actions brought to protect an individual's private rights. Intentional torts are offenses committed by a person who attempts or intends to do harm that result in injury. Negligence torts when a person's actions lead to injury and those actions were neither expected nor intended. There are two types of intentional torts. We have assault and we have battery. Assault is an intentional tort with no physical contact. Assault is an attempt to injure an individual or to create fear. Then we have battery. Battery is an intentional tort that requires physical contact. So a person is injured as a result of the intention. Next, we have negligence. Negligence are acts that lead to injury and they are not intended to cause harm, but were caused by a person failing to act reasonable to prevent an injury. Under negligence, we have four elements. We have the duty to protect, reasonable standard of care, proximate cause, and we also have actual injury. The first element that must be proven in negligence cases is the duty to protect. Teachers have a duty to anticipate foreseeable dangers and take necessary precautions to protect students and their care. Some duties of educational personnel may include adequate supervision at playgrounds or activities outside of school, maintenance of equipment and facilities, heightened supervision of higher risk activities, and the element is easily proven in most cases. The second element that must be proven that the teacher failed to exercise a reasonable standard of care to protect his or her students from injury. Some of the degree of care is determined by the teacher's training and experience in the area, the student's age and disability, the nature of the environment and the activity, and the presence or absence of a supervising teacher. The third element that must be proven and whether there was a connection between the teacher's breach of duty and the student's injury is the element that often hinges the concept of foreseeability. If the injury could have been foreseen and prevented by the teacher, if a reasonable standard of care had been exercised, a logical connection and therefore negligence may exist. And the final element that must be proven is that there was an actual mental or physical injury. Even in instances where there was negligence, if there is no actual injury, damage suits will not be successful.
Okay, boys and girls, we've finished our story about Thanksgiving. Now it's time to color the turkeys. Here you go, Maria, and here you go, Jose. Grab the colors and start coloring. Make sure you color inside the lines, okay? Stay in the lines.
I don't like turkeys, Mr. Zuniga. Oh, done.
Oh, come on, Jose. You still need to color on this side right here.
iPad.
It's not time for iPad, Jose. You need to work first, and then you get your iPad. But you need to finish your coloring assignment first. Let's go. Keep on coloring. You need to make sure you stay in the lines.
Done. Done.
No, it's not done. Look, right here. You still need to color more. Come on, Jose. I know you want to play with the iPad, but you need to work first. Calm down. Calm down. Let's go. Let's work first. Look at your pictures here. First work,
I hate
then
Thanksgiving.
iPad.
I hate Thanksgiving. No. iPad. iPad. iPad.
It's not time for iPad, Jose. It's time for your work. Maria, can you please walk away from him?
Hey, this boss.
Just calm down, Jose. Calm down. Don't get upset. You need to come back to your chair. Calm down, Jose. You need to come back. Finish your work first, and I'm going to give you the iPad. I have the iPad right here. Look. I'm going to give you the iPad, but you need to work first. No, you need to do it right. You need to do it right. No, you need to... We decided to base our scenario on battery. Battery falls under intentional tort, and battery involves physical contact. We decided to do this scenario because aggression happens frequently in the classrooms. It could be aggression towards other kids or teachers, or vice versa. It happens a lot, and I think it's very important for us to understand the laws involved in this scenario or in this particular matter. In this scenario, what we did was the teacher was given a lesson, and Jose was prompted to do an activity. The student, in this case, Jose benefits from a visual cue which helps him understand that he needs to work first and then gets what he wants. In this particular case, Jose wanted to get his reward before actually doing the activity to earn the reward. And Jose did not like that, so he was getting out of control.
Okay, I want to elaborate a little bit on the work that Mr. Zuniga did with Jose. I feel that Mr. Zuniga did an excellent job with providing the positive reinforcements there, and he also had the visual aid for the transition that also helped Jose kind of move on to the next activity. But I did notice that Jose was very upset and very angered, and Mr. Zuniga, he kind of tried to reinforce him as much as he can. He used positive affirmations to try to get him back on task, but Jose was just not having it at the time. The students started to throw chairs. Mr. Zuniga made sure that he got students out the way when he saw that there could have been injury there. So I felt that he provided the best practice at hand for that student at the time. Now, he could have gave the student the iPad what he wanted, but that may have not worked in that case scenario. Like, we don't know how frequently the student acts up, but we do want to make sure that the student is working, and then he has that time to designate for playing after he gets that work done, because at the end of the day, we want the students to be successful in the community. And by teaching him and differentiating the work from the play, I felt was very good.
So this is a common issue seen when working with students with behavior problems, and we want to mention what the law says on that. So it's under Texas Educational Code, and it's 89.1053, letter J, student safety. It says that any behavior management technique or discipline management practice must be implemented in such a way as to protect the health and safety of the student and others. No discipline management practice may be calculated to inflict injury, cause harm, demean, or deprive the student of basic human necessities. We believe in this scenario, we acted out a best practice. The priority was student safety, even when the teacher's safety was at risk. We also praised that the teacher was in consistency with his instruction and the implementation of reinforcement by providing which provides the student with a lot of structure and will help him learn that his behavior or actions will not be rewarded.
So in a scenario like this, like, what would you guys do next if a student acted out with battery towards a teacher or another student?
Oh, in this case, you know, like the physical contact actually happened. So I would just continue with more redirection. Definitely the removal of other students immediately, you know, you have to do it.
I agree.
And just try to see, you know, to see if he responds to redirection, you know. You have to kind of like raise your voice too, you know, so that he can see that that you are more serious about it, and maybe he responds to a voice level, you know. And I mean, if he doesn't have, if he doesn't stop and he continues with the aggression towards, you know, in this case myself, then you would have to proceed with a restraint.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. Like I feel that like he did act out in a way that he kind of threw a trash can at you, but we have to, depending on the situation, we have to kind of think about it like for the best, safest scenario for everyone. So you got hit with a trash can, but you didn't necessarily get hurt because it's a trash can. So do we really want to restrain a student if they're throwing trash cans or paper like that? So we have to kind of think about the situation. In this case, teacher didn't get hurt, so I I go with Jesus that we didn't have to restrain because he wasn't physically injured or anything like that. I don't know.
I think something teachers would do, and it's given. You know, why you want the iPad, that will calm you down, let me give it to you. But that doesn't benefit anybody. That would just worsen the behavior, and the student, the only thing that the student will learn is, okay, if I keep doing this, I'm gonna be reinforced.
I'll get what I want.
I will get, yes. So even though restrained, like, because I picture myself in your position, I mean, my size, and with a student that's bigger than me, it's kind of dangerous. But still, be very consistent and not reward him for what he's doing.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I agree. We have to we have to make sure we look at all the things that are, you know, take all things into consideration, like the size of the child. You know, like if, are we able to, you know, to
Control the situation.
Yeah, control the situation, and also the make sure like the removal of other students. You know, because you know we want to provide safety not only for that child but also for the other child, all children in the classroom.
Exactly.
If he asks for assistance, I don't know, it would be kind of difficult, but call someone.
Yeah, and I think it's good that a lot of schools, they have like systems in place where if they know that the child is too big or that they don't have enough support to restrain, that they have like a team in order already just in case one of those scenarios act out, so they're kind of on scene and on site so they could kind of prevent a situation like that from happening again too serious.
But we also have to be careful because, you know, in this particular scenario, it was just a trash can. But let's say, what if it was a stapler, you know, that it's more heavy, can cause more damage to people, you know, so like furniture, you know, if a child picks up a chair, you know, you immediately want to, you know, proceed with a restraint, or, you know, like kind of like, you know,
self-injury behavior.
yeah,
That's
it
true.
could happen. So there's a lot of things that can happen. So we just have to be very careful and just be ready for situations like that, because it could happen. You know, it happens a lot in the classroom.
True. The next question we had: do you follow your classroom rules and guidelines with fidelity?
I think I am very consistent, you know, with the rules in the classroom. It is if a child, you know, breaks the rules, you know, normally they don't get a reward on my class. I offer rewards at the end of the day, and you know the child has to earn it. You know, they have to earn it by following the rules, you know, doing their work, and I praise them at the end with a reward, you know, something that they really like it could be snacks, iPads, computer time, or just playing time, you know. And you know, I think it's important for everybody to have like some type of reinforcement system in the classrooms.
I agree.
Because you know, we have to offer that to a child. You know, we have to offer something that they like, and that's how we treat behavior, or that's how I treat behavior in the class. You know, to prevent things like from this to happen.
Exactly. I agree with you. I think you said the magic word, consistency. I think like the population of students that we work with, they lack that consistency, and they kind of need to see it more, because maybe at home it's not too structured for them, so when they get to school it's kind of different, but that structure is what they need for
Right.
like the real world setting, and that's what we want to set the kids up for. So I think those guidelines are very important, and that we kind of incorporate them in the classrooms, and it'd be good to get like the parents on the same page too, so they could carry some of those activities at home, so maybe it could help in the classroom setting.
And also, you know, like, there's rules everywhere we go, you know, so it's important for them to
Very
learn
true.
that
Yes,
they have
sir.
to follow the rules, you know. I know sometimes, you know, it's okay that, you know, you break one of the rules or anything, but we also have to give them the opportunity to the children to get back on track, you know. Maybe in the morning they were not sitting down, you know, but, you know, the rest of the day they were following the rules, they were following instructions, they were doing all their work, you know, and I think it depends on the child, depends what they did, you know, but I think we have to be, like, we have to understand too that, you know, they're kids, at the end of the day, they're
Exactly.
kids.
They're
and,
gonna
you know,
make
they-
mistakes.
They're gonna make mistakes, and that's the way they learn.
Mm-hmm.
But it is important for them to know that rules are gonna be everywhere, you know, if you go to the store, there's rules, if you go to the church, there's rules, you know.
Exactly.
So it's important for us to follow our rules with fidelity.
I think it's also very important to always have a plan. Don't leave anything to chances. I've spoken with lots of people in different environments, in different professions, and their answer is there's no ifs. There's no ifs. I'm like, in teaching, especially with these students, there's always an if, or you should always think of what if it doesn't work? What if the
Mhm.
student doesn't respond the way I want him to?
Mm-hmm.
So a plan is very important, and then to follow through. Sometimes it's good to inform the student depending on the level of, depending on his abilities and level of comprehension. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. These are the rules, these will be the consequences. And I also think that with these students, not exactly to be flexible, but like when you when you spoke about the reinforcement, maybe not something fixed, like do all the work during all the day and you will get this reward. Sometimes we have to create like little intervals. Like,
Break
this
it
is
down, kind of
yes,
like break it
Chunk it
down.
yes,
up.
exactly. Like in the morning you didn't, okay, let's break it down into each subject, or 30 minutes a day, and then reward.
In our scenario with Jose, you know, you have those kids that need the reward immediately. You know, when they're first walk into your classroom and they have a lot of those behaviors, you know, you have to start like offer the reward immediately. You know, I think that's what I do in the classroom, and I think that's what I've seen it work. You know, for
Mhm.
some kids, you know, it's for kids, it's the wait is just too long. You know, at the end of the day, where you have to kind of like do it after an activity, and you know, it helps, it works a lot. But you know, I totally agree with you.
Especially when, I've seen it when they're acquiring a new skill, reinforcement has to be very constant. But as you want that new learned skill to be maintained, you do have to be delayed the reinforcement. But it's very, I mean, every student
Yeah.
is different.
That's why like everything is individualized. You know, everything is
Mhm.
individualized, and I think each kid is unique. You know, and will
Exactly.
have to develop their own what works for that child. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's important for also like for the other students, you know, to see that that there's the rules and that you're following them, so that they don't see that, okay, this kid is breaking the ruls and he's still getting things that he wants. You know,
Exactly.
So that's important.
So it's a
for-
model
yeah, it's a
too for
model.
the other students. That's true. That's good. That leads us to our last question. So, what are some effective strategies that we use in the classroom that kind of help us with inappropriate behaviors?
Yeah, like to me, like in this case or scenario, I mean, I was using immediate reward after an activity, and also with the support of the visual cues. You know, it is important for some children, you know, to have that visual cue. That they're gonna get what they want, but you know, they need to earn it. You know.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of the professionals or teachers, especially, we have to use that, you know, because kids, sometimes they don't understand by saying the word, but when they see it, an actual picture of the item, you know, that they're gonna get or what they want, you know, I think it's more effective, you know.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. You guys are elaborating on like I think it's very important to get to know the student. Like, I know sometimes we're caught up with the paperwork aspect of it and the teaching it, and not kind of getting into the student's head on a personal level and like on a family level to know what things is he or she interested in, or what are some things that drive you, or sometimes they just need to be heard, or someone just to listen to them because it's too much at home, and then nobody listens, or they have too many siblings or something like that.
Yeah.
So I feel that once we get to know the student, not only academically but like emotionally, psychologically, that we could better serve the student and kind of feed into some of their interests and stuff like that, because I think the student will start to feel that sense of, oh wow, he cares about me, and then the student will kind of work for you in the sense of the academic side of it. But I think that plays an important part too.
Providing a caring environment.
Mm-hmm.
I think that in order for a strategy to be effective, we first need to analyze what is the purpose of the behavior. Like, what is the function of it? Why is he acting this way? Is he trying to escape the activity? Is he trying to get more attention? What's going on? So in this case, Jose wanted a reward. And once we know what he's trying to communicate, then we can teach him a different behavior, a new behavior, a positive behavior that replaces the negative one.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we have this reinforcement plan or strategy that it doesn't work for him. And sometimes, maybe at the beginning it did, but something happened at home, or something happened, and then he's just not responding. Maybe he just, like, you know what, this is enough. This is not a reinforcement to me anymore. So we have to keep trying. I mean, never
Yeah,
giving up on our
strategies.
student.
Mhm.
Yes. And maybe contracts, behavior contracts. You do this. Well, it's kind of, you do this, and then we'll do that.
Yeah, there's different things that you can use also, like for other children that can't wait until the end of the day. I'll manage their behavior by, actually I use a schedule on my classroom, which is a picture schedule, and then they get if they work on that subject, they get a happy face. Or if they behave during lunch, it's not work, it's mainly for behavior,
Mm-hmm.
If you are, if you're behaving during lunch, you get a happy face. So at the end of the day, everybody gets either a snack or iPad or computer time. I give them options too, so that they can, make their own decisions, given that independency as well. But I think it's very important for us to understand, especially in the mornings, because, some kids, we don't know if they didn't sleep well the night before, we don't know the precipitating factors, what's happening at home, why, and so, like, I agree with you, we have to understand them, get to know them, know the background, so that we can provide a good instruction to them,
All right, that concludes our discussion. Thank you, guys.